Red Dog, is that you using a scrolly wheel?
Yep.
That's real loud.
Has your mouse got a ball on it as well?
No, it's a whatever one. Red. Looks like a scanner at a supermarket. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Logitech.
Bloop.
No, it's a Microsoft unit, I think.
Microsoft, eh?
Yeah.
Unit.
Yeah. Not a Logitech.
No, it's not a Logitech. No. Or
Mousejet.
Belkin. It's not a Belkin either.
Oh yeah, Belkin. Belkin makes some good mouse. Some mice.
No.
Are they still mice?
Nice. Very nice. Front and back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTB podcast, New Zealand's original and still the best mountain bike podcast. Before we get too far into things, I was going to say a special thank you to troyleedesigns.co.nz. Don't forget you can save on their website by using the code OTB podcast at checkout. Also to the team at Smith Optics, we've got a giveaway later in the episode, so don't forget to keep your ears peeled for that one. Good week giveaway this week. And also to filthy.net.nz, Filthy Bike Wash. Best stuff in the game, made in New Zealand, biodegradable, ready to go. Use the code OTB15 at checkout for a 15% discount there too. It's been a bit of a hiatus, but we're back. We're back here for your listening pleasure. We've brought you a fantastic episode today. Who doesn't love Team Rumours at this time of year? Although we're kind of a little bit late to it, so there's a few have been announced, but that's fine. There's still some stuff out there to talk about, and let's get into it and discuss what we know and maybe even some completely made up unfactual information too. Because let's face it, we don't know shit about fuck. So it's not wrong though.
It's a good Ozark reference.
It is. Great show. Red Dog, we're back. Welcome back.
Yeah, great to be back. Happy New Year, guys, to you and to yours as well. Gary, not our first podcast this year.
No, we've got one in the bank. It'll be a little bit later down the track, but man, that was a good one to start with, wasn't it?
Much better than the other guy on the line right now. But can we give any teasers out?
Nah. Is that what that sounds like? Something like that?
What is that?
The sheep? Did we interview the sheep?
It's the sheep. We interviewed the lamb.
Yeah. I was going for obviously a different kind of four-legged reference. We put some teasers out there on Instagram, but we do have to sit on this one for a little bit longer. But eventually we'll have what I think was quite a fantastic interview, and one that definitely covered a lot more 26-inch topics than any of the other podcasts did with said person. So keep your ears peeled for that one. But also, back with us, Chris Vanderkolk, our regular co-host. How are you, buddy?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I've had a lovely summer, and I can now lay claim to be to have the honour of being on Karen's only social mountain bike ride of 2024.
Yep.
We went for a very enjoyable ride in Nelson, and then went and had a burger and a beer, and it was a highlight of my summer.
Hey, we even bumped into an OTB listener.
We did.
Shout out to Chris Reed. We
was
saw her
it
trackside. No, we did see her at some point though, but not trackside.
Oh, so two listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2 listeners that listen to the show. So, no, that was you're probably right. That's probably my first and last social ride. Actually, no, we did have our additional social ride, Chris, that we took. It took so much faffing around that is definitely my last social ride of the year.
That one was both unsociable because there was so much fucking around, and regrettable because there was so much fucking around.
And Lester Perry was to blame for most of it.
Yeah.
Only because
No,
Lester's not here tonight, so we can blow him out.
Any time on a trail with you and Lester is a pleasure, even if we're fucking around and wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. We're always in it for a good time.
Can I ask, just before we kick off here? Can I ask what both of you probably got about this summer on the trails, down the bay, etc. Is there any comedic tales or things you saw? I've got one that's slightly bike related that I'd like to share, but before I do,
I don't have anything springing to mind, so maybe you jump in onto your comedic tale there, Red Dog.
it's nothing too major. But while I was at the lake, I did see a guy sailing a hobby cat in pickup kit. So he had
Nice.
I think it was.
Was it a Thor jersey? I hope it was a
Nah,
Thor jersey.
do you remember that? Do you remember that brand Shot? I think it was called Shot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He was operating that.
Good.
He was operating that jersey on his hobby cat.
It's even better that it was on a hobby cat because, like if you're at the lake, and you've got your recreational water vehicle, you've got to have a hobie cat, and it's got to be stashed under the trees somewhere as well.
Yeah, you just park
and
it
you
under
just
the
trust
trees.
that people won't steal it.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
you
you roll
just,
in.
I
you put
just
a
sort of
chain around
meandered
a
to the
tree.
shore in it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. What a
Very
legend.
nice.
I've got nothing to rival that one, unfortunately. No, that's a good one. Well,
No, I've just got pissing myself while I was trying not to die riding with Kieran.
we had a good time.
Like you urinated in your pants. Is that whatever?
Well, there was a lot of laughter, and
Oh,
there was
okay.
also a lot of laughing at me almost dying.
I think my favourite part was like when we were sitting down having a burger and a beer much later, and I looked at my watch, and then you went to check your watch and realised there was no watch, and we knew exactly where it had gone after you just about died from nearly hitting a tree.
Yeah, we found video. We've got video footage of me going into the trees with a watch on and coming out without a watch on.
Did you get the
We
watch?
pinpointed it.
We got the watch. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Went back for it a couple of days later.
That's
There you
great.
go.
On
Listeners, that was our summer. Yeah.
Jeez,
that was
must
good.
be nice. I would have been up there that night finding that thing.
Yeah, well,
it's pretty late by the time we realised. He would have been up there in the dark.
Yeah.
We decided, we came to the conclusion that it was in a tree that most people aren't going to stop by or nearly crash into, so it should be safe for another day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
fair
real
enough.
don't turn left sort of a situation. And I
Yeah.
turned left.
It was definitely a right-handed hit, and Chris just kind of went left. So, yeah, most people won't go that way.
I
Yeah.
see.
But
That's fine.
There we go.
that was good.
There you have
That was
it.
good. We had a good time. Team Rumours. Should we talk? It's such a good time of year because there's been there's been a few good ones this year. I guess like the industry's kind of just been a bit all over the place, and budgets have been cut back, and people are just getting cut loose left, right, and centre. So there's been some interesting stuff go down. I mean, obviously the Minarda Norco is probably the most high profile, but also worst kept rumor this year. I feel like that was kind of pretty widely thrown out there and was pretty common knowledge by the time it came out, but definitely an interesting one. I think the original split from Santa Cruz was the biggest shock that came out. But
Yeah, why didn't it seem? I mean, the split. I don't know if that was a surprise to me or not, but it didn't seem surprising him going to Norco. Or it could have been anyone. He'd had to go somewhere.
well, I mean, he's got to go somewhere, but I didn't pick Norco. I don't know. It's not like they've had a big high-profile race team out there.
Yeah, it's
I
totally
think it's
true.
just surprising how it all went down. Like, it almost doesn't matter where he went. It's the fact that, like, he finished up with Santa Cruz so quickly without a team to go to. Like, I don't know. I think Santa Cruz comes out of this looking pretty stupid.
My theory is that he said it in multiple interviews that he was going to retire last year. The bike industry is in a pretty shit place. Budget's been cut. My theory is that he came back very late last year going, hey guys, I'm actually going to race again next year. I can't imagine he's on a small salary. And they're probably like, well, shit, we don't have this budget here. That's my theory on it.
Do you think he's making
It
what he
sounds
was
pretty
demanding
reasonable.
at Santa Cruz, though? At Norco?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard.
It depends, Red Dog, where the money comes from. And this is to reference what Karen said earlier, some potentially very untrue rumours that aren't even really rumours, more conspiracy theories. But I like to entertain the idea that Roscop's pumping money into the Norco team.
Just from the left field, like
Just out of spite.
It does depend on if Kathy still has access to that petty cash box.
Oh, she definitely does. She's still got a credit card.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how the team's being funded.
Yeah. Yeah, some real back alley deals going on.
Yeah. I don't know. He seems pumped on the bike though. I mean, I listened to the Vital podcast with him, and he seems very, very excited with the bike. So, but the dude is 41 years old. I mean, where do you put a ceiling in terms of a race result this year? Like, do you think a podium? Do you think a podium again is possible?
4-5. 4-5.
That's my thoughts. I'm like, if everything clicks, then maybe like he just slips onto the podium in like a fifth or something.
Rain affected one.
I mean, you've been in hot water for counting him out in the past, Kerry.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
You don't ever want to say, oh, yeah, no, he hasn't got it anymore. And so therefore, like, it's hard to not say that he's got a podium chance. But
it's tough love because every time I've written him off in the past, he comes back and wins a race or does something like that.
This is
So
what we know.
I'm going for the tough love approach.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Did you take that approach? I won't go any further. Sorry.
Keep in mind, KB did say, like, when he left Santa Cruz, that it was like losing a member of the family. Like, that's how devastated he was.
Can I point something out?
Yeah, go on.
In the year that Santa Cruz drops Minnar, they re-signed Bennett.
Yeah, it's
how good's that? Like that's powerful. That's like times are tough in the bike industry. They can't keep Minnar, but they can keep Bennett.
Hey, my salary is probably a lot lower than his is, and I probably go
ROI,
through.
though.
I probably go through a lot less bikes than him too, so I'm probably a lot cheaper hire.
You're better return on investment. Like you're a multi-discipline athlete. Like you're riding that whole fleet. You're not just riding the V10.
Maybe
Yeah,
Greg needed to chalk up a couple of Masters cyclocross titles. Maybe that's what.
I think so.
Yeah, it could have been what he was missing. Either way, I'm very curious to see how the season goes for him on that team.
Can I ask what sounds like not a serious question, but kind of is? Is he tarnishing the legacy?
We'll see.
I think he's too calculated for that, eh? Like,
yeah, it's an interesting one because I feel like listening to some of the stuff that he's done, he's really come into this in terms of he's building a legacy as well. You know, like he's building a race team. He gets to kind of build this race team the way he sees with the components he thinks they should be running, and so maybe he's recreating a new legacy. But there is that fear that does it tarnish?
I think though, when legacies have been tarnished in the past, it's because it was pretty clear from the outset of the legacy tarnishing that this just shouldn't go ahead. And I think if you'd bet Greg to go in like 110% this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the only way that you're actually going to say like he's tarnishing legacy if he's not making that top 60. Like if he's just not even making it out of qualifying, then you're looking at it going like, oh boy.
There's no way.
Yeah.
But I still see him making it through semi-finals and into the finals every week, sort of thing. So,
but if everything he says about that bike is true and like the team and everything, then he's definitely the kind of guy who will be able to get that bike working exactly as he wants it to. So like the bike, in theory, based on the stuff he's been saying, shouldn't hold him back.
No. And last year, I mean, he was coming off that neck injury and he looked stiff at the start of the season. Like he just didn't look that comfortable. And he got better as the season went on. So a healthy off season should see a better Manar starting the year too. And he'll probably be a bit fired up because he's coming in on a new bike. He probably wants to, come in and kind of prove some people wrong, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm sure he's
back.
Yeah, I'm sure he's motivated. He'll be excited.
I think the fact that he's brought Sessler back into that team says a hell of a lot about what, like, you can speculate about what the team environment might have been like or changed too, because she's left, the team obviously changed culture a bit, and then he's brought her back in. So you kind of have to wonder whether or not the team was actually working for him in the last couple of years.
She's a dialed operator though. Like she knows what's going on and where everyone needs to be, and she just gets shit done. So I think that's a big part of that. Like she's just a good person for that role. But I'm surprised that she's back. Like I kind of thought she might have taken a year off and been at home and been like, man, this is kind of nice. But kind of once a racer, always a racer. You miss that excitement. So sure she'll be back and firing.
So what happens at the syndicate now? Like, they've got two young, fast guys. They can build the future of that team around. Presumably, that's what they'll do. But like, do you think the syndicate changes much, or was Greg just kind of pretty much running his own program within the syndicate so much that it doesn't matter?
I don't think it changes much. Like, I could imagine you'll see... I mean, like, the syndicate's had a history of riders staying for a while, right? Like, it's not like they've had people come in for a year and then leave again. Like, I feel like they've always been pretty calculated with who joins the team to make sure that they are, they fit with the culture and everything. But, I don't know. I think Jackson is pretty clearly, he's like a superstar of the sport going forward. So by all accounts they just carry on doing real well. Like Laurie has podium speed, even though Red Dog hates him, but I'd back him. But they've got Nina, who also has winning speed clearly, and I feel like they've still got, it's not like they've lost their winning rider. They've still got a lot of strength in that team. So I don't think it'll change too much.
Well, that's the question, is it? Was Greg actually number one rider in last year?
No, I think Jackson had. Jackson was the only rider that won 2 World Cups last year.
There's a difference between number one rider and most powerful rider, though, Chris.
Yeah, but Greg also contractually had the right to have like a couple of mils of Jackson's blood whenever he needed it. For whatever reason. So like those are the dynamics I think that are changing.
Right.
Just rating Jackson's prize winnings for himself, and just the hierarchy, the old guard changes, and these things wash over.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we've spent about 20 minutes talking about Greg. There's been a few other team changes as well. But Red Dog, you got something you want to shoehorn in?
Just on the Norco thing there. Did they just not? They just left old Mark Wallace on scene, did they? Because he's just
I don't know what's going to happen there.
As
he appears to be gone from the team. There's been no mention of him.
It's just a you up, so and there's nothing.
Yeah, so I wonder where Mark will pop up. He's good. He's sneaky good. So hopefully, he went from Canyon to Norco. Was he only on Norco for a year? I think.
Yeah, the last year was the first year.
Yeah. So who knows where we'll see Mark show up? But Hopefully he finds somewhere. All
Someone's microwave's
right.
done.
Other high profile moves. The microwave is done. Katie's just whispering sorry in the background.
What's Katie cooking?
This is a very high level recording here.
Audio excellence, Katie.
I think she's making some sort of dessert. But
Hi.
I guess the other big move that's still a bit of a question mark is Gwyn leaving Intense and going to who knows where. There's been no real firm link.
That one's a head scraper. Because he owned that team. So what does he now own?
Well, I mean, I guess I've got all the infrastructure trucks and, truck in Europe and that sort of stuff. So,
does he own that?
plus kind of
think?
I would assume so, because I think he owned that team and then Intense sponsored the team and funded the team. Like it wasn't an Intense team. I think it was Gwyn's.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. Like, if you take away the sponsorship agreement, partnerships, and everything else, and the riders, like, what are you left with? Like, how many assets does a team want to have on their books? Like, surely they don't go out and buy these big trucks; they lease them or rent them from other fucking bike brands and stuff. But
I mean, the only connection I've heard thrown around is Yeti making a return to Yeti.
That feels good to me. I mean, it feels safe.
It would be like going home. They built that new downhill bike last year. It would be a pretty nostalgic place for him to round out his career because, I mean, I think he's at the pointy end by the feel of it.
But so does Gwyn just go and ride on a Yeti team, or does he try and build that team with a new bike brand again? Like, if he still owns a team, if he still owns our team,
I think it would be just a rebirth of Intense Factory Racing, but with Yeti.
Yeti Factory Racing.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would. I feel like it would be an offshoot of the Yeti. Like, it's not going to be part of like the Yeti factory team that races enduro. If it happens, I feel like it would be like his kind of own. I feel like maybe even a kind of privateer effort because I haven't seen anyone else connected to this.
It's late in the game, right? That's why the whole Intense thing seems so weird. And I don't know, reading between the lines, there's not a lot of cohesion around the messaging and everything else from Gwyn and Intense. Like, you had this big build-up of the history of Intense racing. And then this random announcement that Intense Factory Racing was dead. And literally the next day, surprise, it's not dead anymore, which sort of just seems like a big fuck you to Gwyn.
I think they kind of, I think like the Gwyn side of it, I think they kind of dropped it kind of out of the blue on Intense almost, it felt like. And then I think Intense were kind of like, whoa, shit, like we gotta put something out here. Like we gotta make, kind of save face and put something out. But yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, Joe Breeden was on the Intense. He was on Gwyn's team last year, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm right there.
Yeah, he's the guy that's carrying over.
Yeah. So Joe, it kind of seems like Joe is almost the driver of this new Intense factory team. From what I was reading, just
like he's
kind of
running
reading between the lines. Yeah, like maybe not even so much running it, but kind of like the driving force behind, hey, we need to do this. Because it's like, it's a very UK team. They've got one American kid who is ex
Randy
motocross racer, Randy Lawrence's kid. Yeah,
That's
Ryder Lawrence.
Cool.
But
Ryder
then
Lawrence?
it's like Oscar Griffiths, Joe Breeden, and Louise Ferguson. So 3 Brits.
So I want to see the Frameworks team beat the Intense team, because the Frameworks team is kind of, in a way, what the Intense team probably should be these days. In terms of the riders on it and the development, all that kind of stuff. And Nico's done such a good job of building that into what it is, and it looks so slick now as well. They just announced it. whereas the Intense team sort of seems a bit all over the place already.
Did you feel? I don't know if you guys really followed along with the history of Intense, but I feel like Intense started out so cool. They've got the Palmer era and the Kavarik and Ronning, and it's that era of the M1 and sick Fox moto inspired kits. And then as they kind of went down the track and got towards today, I was like, oh, they're kind of looking less cool as they get through the years. They've really lost that hand built awesome status.
Seems like every I don't know, every 5 years or so, they look like they're getting back to that. That team that had Moyer on it and everyone, and they built that carbon bike that was like, fuck, okay, that's like new school, cool, intense, young, fast, red. That's the one thing. Had to be red.
Gotta be red.
Right. And then that sort of went sideways with Gwyn, and then it looked like, okay, cool, they got that bike finally painted red again. And it's like, okay, cool, they've got a dialed set up and a big name, and they can bring some young guys in. And then this happens, you go, well, now what is it? And the biggest criticism I've got of this team is when they have done the press release photos, the kits are all over the shop. They're riding bright red bikes, and they've got blue and green kits. It should be it's Intense. It should be matching. It should be red
and,
a little bit of yellow, a little bit of black.
Yeah,
easy.
I mean,
and they just called Troy Lee last minute, and they're like, "Can you send us some shit? We don't know what to wear."
If you're taking an Intense from the past, it's an M1 with Dorados on it, isn't it? There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the only choice.
I'd go.
What an era
close
that
second. Close second. Exert Carbon.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Watch this space. I don't know what's going to go in there. Yeah, no, I'd take either, actually. I would take an M1 with Expert Carbons or a Dorado and Shimano XT full piston brakes. Because, goddamn, that's hot.
Shimano Airlines on that drivetrain?
Man, we're getting into real niche territory now.
Yeah, we are.
Speaking of Intense, it looks like the MS team is moving from Mondraker back to Intense. From everything I can kind of scout out, looks like they're coming back full circle and going back to Intense. So I've thrown a few lines out there. I've got a friend an ex-mechanic that works in Intense, and he pretty much all but confirmed it. It sounds like it was a real late coming together, but and also I saw Tohoto has been in. He had stories on Instagram today from Lake Elsinore, which is classic Intense territory, and also Laguna Beach. So I believe Tohoto was in a second year of a 2-year deal with MS Racing. So it kind of looks that way. Looks like it'll be an MS Intense team alongside their factory kind of effort as well. So
that's pretty cool. I can fuck with
that. They could have some cool stuff showing up. It'll be interesting to see when that all comes out. I assume David Trummer's still on the team. Brooke had posted that he was leaving MS Racing, so Brooke's kind of out in the side. I'd heard he'd been riding a zeroed, testing a zeroed, but then I've also heard you might see him on the Forbidden team racing downhill. So interesting one there to see where he lands. I saw he also just today he posted that he re-upped his deal with Red Bull. So clearly he's still actively planning on racing.
The Red Bull sponsorships are all regional, right?
Yeah, they're all done by their local country.
And it sort of seems like those relationships usually extend at least a little while after guys, they kind of they keep them running for quite a while.
Yeah,
still a lot of value in having a local athlete.
Seems to be, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where Brooke lands. I don't think it'll be zeroed, but Forbidden seems like it could be somewhere he ends up with Conor Fearon, I guess, as a teammate. So watch that space. I think that's about all the Intense seems like there's a Mondraker. Well, there is a Mondraker factory racing team being announced.
Yeah, that just came out today, didn't it?
Yeah, so they've kind of announced the structure of the team, and then they're like dropping the riders as they go. But by all accounts, that's Ronan Dunn, Ryan Pinkerton, Cam Cole brought him up to where he's at clearly, and Dakota Norton. So that could be a pretty strong team. But
that's a sick lineup.
is the bike going to be good though? Because man, they have not seemed like they've had a good bike for a few years. That's my concern on that team.
They make a point about that in the release. It was on the Pink Book the other day about specifically having access to the Mondraker design or engineering team or something.
But I'm sure that was happening with MS Racing as well. Like they seemed, they were writing prototypes and changing idlers and doing all sorts of stuff. But I kind of, that sits in the back of my mind a little bit because that bike has not seen a lot of results in the past couple of years. So.
Yeah, I think sort of reading the way that they've done this press release sort of implies that that's something they haven't been doing very well.
Is
developing the bike.
We're gonna make a better bike for these guys, we promise.
Yeah. Come join us. No, we'll sort the bike out.
Yeah. I mean, especially for guys like, Dakota had some pretty good results last year, and Pinkerton's obviously extremely fast and coming into elites. Ronan Dunn, clearly, we all picked him getting a podium last year. So, good riders. So hopefully that works out for them. What else is news? New Zealand riders, Jess Blewett on Cube. So she's, speaking of, Cam Cole athletes. So Jess has found a new home with the German team on Cube. Should be good for her, I imagine. Danny Hart's out and Jess is in.
Did we say? There's a bunch of confirmed ones that we haven't talked about, but the rumour mill's kind of settled down, hasn't it?
It has a bit. We've got some confirmed riders as well. I think I kind of hope Jess just doesn't do hardline this year, because that was a letdown last year. She seemed to be coming on strong and then got hurt at hardline. So
did anyone see the video? The welcome video?
Yeah, it was terrible. Might have been the
words cannot
worst.
Explain how bad that was.
Nah.
So awkward.
I was cringing. Yeah, it was terribly awkward. Yeah. No, not great. But good bike to land on, I'm sure. Seems like it works pretty well.
I think it's a good move. Good move.
Yeah. Speaking of Cam Cole, throwing the last Cam Cole rider from last year, Ethan Craik, to Scott. Craik was, he was breakout at the end of the season. Like a young Cam Cole, actually.
Like a young horse.
Some podiums. So he's on Scott, which should be a good place for him. I don't know who his teammate is. So
Levesque is one. Okay. Is Levesque one?
Oh yeah, no, it's the other guy, Goncalo Banderia, something like that. I don't know who he is. Stefan Ricardo.
Yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah, that's good. And I guess one of the last ones that we kind of actually know and it's been announced, Deprella moving to Canyon was a big one. That was a surprise.
I liked the way they did that.
It's pretty good.
Just keep it on the wraps. Don't say anything. Come out of nowhere.
No one saw it coming. He looks good in that Troy Lee kit, though. I think
that's look good.
It seems like a good move as well, eh? Like that Canyon team, so they just seem like a dialed program, and they've got Burrell there.
Yeah, and Deprella is very French, clearly, and so is Fabian. So I think they'll work well together. I think Fabian will be a good mentor for him because, man, that guy is clever. Like, he knows it when he's, he knows how to operate. So
good timing.
Well,
for Tebow Umbrella. Do you think it's good timing in his career?
it's interesting because he's kind of gone from a number 2 rider on one team to arguably the number 2 rider on the other team.
Not arguably, Kerry. Not arguably.
Well, I mean, I know in your heart, Troy Bronson will always be number 1.
He's a number 1.
But
Is still opinion this year?
which one?
No, brain fart. Sorry, I'll tell you. I'll come
Guy.
back to that.
I can't even think of anyone.
Lucas Shaw.
I'll come back to you.
Lucas Shaw.
Lucas Shaw.
Yep, I think Luke is still there. I haven't seen anything to say
When
otherwise.
when he left Santa Cruz, KB just cut him out, Completely cut him out.
Forgot
I
about
just
him,
had to
eh?
forget about him.
Yeah. Wow. Must be
Just say
tough.
goodbye.
I was a big Luca fan when he was coming up out of the juniors, and yeah, it just kind of broke my heart when he left. So I had to just cut him out of my mind.
Santa Cruz ate him up, eh? Spat him out.
I like his style.
See-
He's got good technique.
No, he's a good rider. So they'll have a strong team. They'll have a real strong team. Well,
That is a powerful team.
Kiwi riders. There's quite a bit going on with Kiwi riders this year.
Mhm.
We talked Brooke. We talked to Hodo. Blinky just dropped a teaser yesterday or today. Depends when you're listening to this. Probably yesterday. Of what I have to say looks like a zeroed.
It is a
He's-
zero.
he's-
It looks just like a zero.
Yeah, I mean we're all pretty confident that's a zeroed that he's on. So that'll be interesting. I actually did talk to him. He had ridden. So I mean, this probably just clearly shows that this is what he's on. But he said he rode one last year when I was talking to him a while ago, and he was just blown away at how good it was. Rode one when he was in Morzine. So that'll be a cool fit. It'd be cool to see. Blinky's a very dynamic and stylish rider and has a big following. So good on Zeroed if that's if they've pulled all that off.
They're also, the rumor is Taylor Vernon as well, eh?
Yeah, it seems
there.
like there's actually a legit UCI World Cup Zeroed team going on.
That's awesome.
So
That's real cool.
If that's happening, that's fucking cool.
you love to
There's
see it.
actually a zero team, like a Kiwi team, at the World Cup.
So I mean, we've all got our Zeroed connection here. I mean, you two still own Zeroeds, right? So
Arguably,
It's,
we
uh,
are last
we're
year's
the-
factory team.
yeah,
Well,
it's
we're
true.
the local team. We're sort of the junior development team.
Grassroots.
Right,
Yep.
yeah. Maybe they're like the nearly 40 plus development team. I had the fun fact. I had the very first production Zeroed ever. Just in case you wanted to know.
Do you know where it is now?
Yes, the guy who
I guarantee it's Masterton.
probably there seems to be a lot going on in the Wairarapa with old downhill bikes. I don't know where it is now, but I could probably find it. The dude who bought it sent me a message like in the last couple of years. He goes, "Was this your old bike?" Because the fork had my name engraved under the crown.
Was that
Oh.
the Fox factory fork that you
Was
had?
that from, it must have been from the DRD, was it?
That's sick.
Nah, it was the year after that. Fox actually hooked me up with suspension for a couple of years after that. Yeah, so that's around. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see on that with Blinky. The juniors are coming out firing. I mean, we saw Ollie Clark and Tyler Waite putting some ridiculous times down in the National Series last year, and then it seems like after we had that podium sweep of the junior girls at World Champs that everyone's eyes suddenly went back onto the Kiwis, which is good because it's been a while. But so I've been hearing Ollie Clark is on the Junior team, which is a Trek team. I think it was like, remember the old Junior teams tools? So apparently he's on there, and Tyler Waite is clearly riding a Yeti downhill bike, and
That's cool.
there's no way you're getting one of those downhill bikes unless you're getting support from Yeti. So seems like he's got a deal with them, which is cool.
Is that the keys to the Gwyn move? Like, is that the tell?
Wow.
Like, why would they
maybe.
be feeding downhill bikes to some kid? A
Do you
kid if there's
feel
nothing
like-
to support him.
do you feel like that could be a bit of a young Blinky? Like as Blinky came up, had his kind of breakout on Yeti. Maybe we could be seeing something along those lines again.
I reckon so.
Yeah.
Take it back to
Has
Schleck,
Yeti-
mate.
In the last few years with their enduro teams, have they been running kind of big teams, or has Richie kind of been running his own program with a couple of other guys? Like has it been a full factory back team, or is it more like?
They've been pretty low key, I think. Like, I mean, enduro teams aren't exactly huge setups these days. But it's usually been like Richie and like another decent elite guy, and then like a younger guy or something.
It's loose. Yeah. I think it was Lucevic last year.
Can you imagine if
KB,
they came
do you know
into
who that
World
is?
Cup this year?
Yeah.
Good.
I can't think. His first name starts with an S. I can't pronounce it, but he's done pretty good in EWS races. But no, they run a pretty sort of scaled down team. But obviously,
it's always been like that, though, eh?
Yeah, it's never. Yeah, honestly, it hasn't really changed. They've never been like a big flashy team of big infrastructure and shit like that. Like they generally just get it done. So
is Damien still running?
Can you imagine though?
Yeah, Damien's still there. He's been there forever. He's part of the furniture.
A Yeti downhill team, World Cup team with Gwyn, Richie, and a couple of juniors. How fucking cool would that be?
That's good stuff.
That's a powerful statement.
I would like to see Yeti back in the downhill scene in like a big way. I feel
that's
like
how they came back as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's just cool to have these American brands in there. Like racing's kind of their heritage, and it'd be so good to have them back in downhill racing like that.
It kind of makes sense though, right? Because if Yeti is fielding a proper World Cup team this year, and you've got to assume that have done all that work with the bike, as you say, they've got young guys riding them, and there's this kind of gaping hole, like all the American big free agents, like guys like Dak and all those guys that could have been on this team if it was happening, aren't. So you go, okay, well, if they are doing this, they've probably had it lined up for a while, which means they would have been looking for riders for a while. I think might be on the money with Gwyn going there, eh? It'd be sick.
It'd be pretty cool. I mean, they used to have like a regional team, like they had they had like the Yeti Fox World Cup team, which was at one point Blinky, Justin Leo, Jared Graves, a young Richie Rude, Cam Cole. Big, like, good team. They had some great results. And then they also had the like Fox Yeti team, which was a regional team that raced just in the US, which had a bunch of fast, like, kind of regional riders in it. They used to, be in there in a big way.
They were legit. Ross Milan, Dave Zigman, maybe?
I don't know if Zigman was either
Was he there?
Mikey Hatterer was on there. Joel Bain.
Was he?
I think Joel Bain might have ridden for them for a year.
I thought Joel Bain was the...
Nah, he was on Cannondale. Ben Bell was the Australian.
He was on the American one?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'm forgetting something real. Houseman
Houseman was involved in it. Yeah, Gary Houseman. Rich Houseman.
Rich Houseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get the right Houseman there, right?
Yeah. It was there's some pretty powerhouse stuff back then.
They used to have they used to release clay videos, eh?
They were awesome.
Maybe you could watch them through like Apple. It's like a podcast almost sort of thing.
Yeah, podcasts used to have video ones. Yeah, it was a strange time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, they were good. They were all so good.
Clay made some great movies. I wonder if those are still online anyway, because
they're really hard to find.
Yeah.
The Sledming one where Blinky wins is good.
Yeah. If you were taking a Yeti from any era, like the Intense, which Yeti are you going for?
I have the answer to that. And Red Dog probably knows my answer to this.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. It's one of Blinky's ones. It's the one where he had the Fox 40 with the silver nitrite.
Yeah. Good pull.
And white rims, like that thing was dialed.
DT 1750 wheels. Yeah. That was a good era.
Yeah. That's it, eh? Like, And then it got a bit weird after that.
I'm going a wee bit further back.
Chrome swing arm, bro. Chrome swing arm.
I'm going back to Nathan Rennie on a Lawwell DH8. Those ones with a Dorado on them. Give me one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Give me one of those. But
It was pretty nice.
yeah, they were pretty cool.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to bail out.
All right.
Sorry to abruptly leave the podcast. Listeners, thanks very much for your time.
Hey, thanks for your insights,
I
mate.
look forward to listening as a listener to see what happens after this point.
See what
Sure,
comes
it'll
from
just
here.
get better.
Probably
Hey,
wrap
thanks,
it up,
mate.
to be fair.
Yeah, see you next time.
See you, boys. See ya.
See ya.
I wonder
I
if I leave, is this just going to kill the whole podcast? Is it just going to
Everyone will
delete the
stop.
recording?
Everyone will
Let's
stop
find
listening.
out.
Everyone will just stop listening from here anyway.
Oh, fuck.
Red Dog, we don't have too much more to really wrap up, but so it looks like the union has switched. Well, clearly they said that they have left Santa Cruz, and it looks like they are on Trek. And they've got 2 Kiwis on there now, though. So Lockie Stevens McNabb is still on the team. Yep. I reckon he'll be strong this year because he was pretty injured last year. Like, I think he had a busted heel or something for quite a bit of the season. Man, I could see Lockie having some breakout rides this year.
Second year elite?
Yeah. I think he'll be coming on. Like, I've got some big hope.
I certainly like that he's still there.
Yeah.
That's
good.
That's a strong move.
Yeah. And then joining him is other Mid-North Island pinner, Ali Hossabosh, who I know you have no idea who that is, but
I don't know who that is, but I know she's good.
She is extremely fast. I think she is going to do well. So she's coming into her first year of juniors, so watch out for her. And then all the other junior girls, I think, have pretty much stayed put. Looks like Sasha Ernest is still on Trek, which I think is like the Trek factory team by the looks of it. Iris Van Leuven, I imagine, is staying with Common from everything I've seen, and same with Poppy Lane. So
I believe so.
There'll be some. I feel like we're in for a strong season across the board. Like I think we've got some good Kiwi riders on some decent setups. You know.
I mean, Kiwi wise, this is some of the, especially the juniors. This is a year to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think it's pretty awesome for Tyler and Ollie actually coming in with support into the junior field. Like, I mean, geez, when have we ever had any juniors that have come in to their first year as a junior, you know, with rides? Like, barely ever. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
Not often. And I actually like that Trek, tools sort of style deal. I like that sort of ride. It's enough. It's not a you got to perform, otherwise you're getting cut loose deal, like a factory would be.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good amount of pressure.
I'd heard him being connected with the Zero team at one point, so
right.
Yeah, not too sure what happened there, but apparently, yeah, I'd heard that he was going to be on that Zero deal, but so something's obviously changed there if that's the case. But yeah, I think
wouldn't be the first junior to do well on a Zero though.
No, you know, we've had some strong juniors come through on Zeros over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all out of people. Do you think? I guess the other rumor. Do you think Enduro dies?
What, this year? Like just halfway through, they take it out the back and put it.
I don't know.
Down.
It feels like it's. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors that it's going to be put to pasture at the end of this year.
If it is, I think it goes back to how it was. So I don't think it dies completely. I think someone else does something with it. I think.
Yeah. Do you think maybe like the UCI?
Yeah.
The UCI World Cup dies and it goes back to being a bunch of. I don't know. I feel like these multi-day races are kind of, 2-3 day. Ones are becoming a lot more popular, kind of taking that spirit of enduro back rather than these like 1 day pump and dump kind of weird events
they're
I've been
kind
having.
of weird. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know if it. I don't think it dies. It seems too established to die.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of people saying that like bike brands are kind of just pulling back on enduro sponsorship.
That'll probably be the driver, right? They won't kill the sport if people are still putting money into it.
I mean, I feel like what was good about Enduro was the whole fact of, when it was kind of coming up, it really blew up that whole Enduro bike market because all of a sudden everyone's like rushing to build these 160mm travel bikes. But now that's so established and that's what everyone rides, they don't need a race series to sell them. That's just what everyone's looking for. Because it was
exactly.
Prior to that, it was like you had an XC bike, which was kind of shit at going down the hill, or you had a downhill bike. There was nothing really in between.
No.
So,
you're probably right. They kind of don't need. They sell themselves. That's what mountain bikes are now.
Well, I mean, you look at Santa Cruz. They don't even have an enduro team or any real enduro AWS athletes.
Haven't done for a long
no
time.
one in there, and I think they're not having any problems with selling enduro bikes.
No.
You don't need to have it there. So that'll be an interesting one to kind of keep watch on this year.
Yeah. No, that is true. It will be interesting. Everyone complains about the coverage and stuff with enduro.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can't get
any
much better than what it is. Yeah, it's
who's going to sit around all day and watch live footage?
Yeah, it kind of just is what it is, right?
Pretty much. All right, last question for you, and this one's a bit of a shot from the hip, so you're not prepared for it. But who does, out of the people who have changed teams, who does the best on their new team?
I have to go through the riders. I'm going to go Tebow Umbrella.
That was mine too. I mean, he's been good, but I could see him maybe just leveling out a bit more and being a bit more consistent.
Yeah, me too. I think that, having Burrell around helps.
Yeah, big time.
The team seems solid. The bike looks good. I think he matures and that brings results.
Yeah, I'm with you. On that one. Yeah, it'll be. I mean, his speed has been always dangerously fast. We've seen that. He's won World Cups and he's been real fast. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what he does for sure.
Yeah, it will be. I like that move. I like that move. I like how there wasn't much fanfare as well. It was just done. That's what happened. No one was talking about it for months on end.
Yeah,
good work on both parts. Yeah,
it was great. Everyone was kind of like, that fits. That makes sense.
Yeah, it tracks.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. Nah, good stuff. All right. That's enough for one night. We don't want to burn ourselves out on our first episode back this year.
Do we, before we go, are we giving anything away anytime soon?
You know what? We probably should. Why don't we give away a pair of Smith Wildcats?
A pair of Smith Wildcats?
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty damn good prize to me.
They are my glasses of choice. So why don't we come up with something where, I don't know, we need to come up with maybe we just do something on Instagram because I can't come up with any competitions at this point unless you got anything on top of your head.
No.
Maybe they need to email us. Do we do an email competition?
Do we have an email address?
Yes.
We'll do an email competition.
All right. So if you've made it this far, we'll keep it low key. So you've got to actually make it this far to even get into the entries. So God knows how many people we'll actually get. When our listener base is so small already, it's going to be slim. But
so what's the email address? What's our email address?
So you got to email. What you do, put in Smith Wildcat as the subject. Send it to otb.mtbpodcast@gmail.com. So that's our.
Maybe tell us why you need them. We want to hear a good reason.
Tell us why you need a pair of Smith Wildcat. They got the new low light lens in them, which is fantastic too. So good price.
Maybe you're like Chris and you lost your set when you crashed in the bush, like he lost his watch.
Yeah, didn't realise he'd lost a pair of glasses off your face.
That happens.
Who knows? It does. Happens to the best of us.
It does.
All right. That's a wrap. Thanks, Red Dog.
Thank you, Kerry. Thanks, Chris.
And thanks to our loyal listeners who have made it this far, and I cannot wait to see our inbox be absolutely flooded. We'll see you next time.
I'm ready. What's up? I come from the land of down under. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, drop like I'm supposed to. B-L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.